I too wanted to comment on Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there on April 25th. I'm looking forward to having lunch with everybody, and I think we can find plenty of streets that need some cleanup alongside the roads. I've been counting them. I'll help you out with a work plan. Anyway, so another thing that I wanted to discuss and let people know is the ordinances that we passed a couple of weeks ago. We added a new position for the Park Board and the Planning Commission. The positions that we just recently or are considering appointments for are finishing terms of people that had left, but since we created two new positions so that we would have an odd number because of the youth having a vote. Anyway, we are going to be placing those in the paper so that we'll try to reach out, kind of cast our broad net again and reach out to more people to get more applications to appoint those positions that will be full-term positions as we move forward. So that's our goal with that right there. To miss the sound, so that we don't have to talk about Sound Cities Association, moving forward, I just let you know that totally missed that meeting. I didn't realize it was the second Wednesday. I thought it was still the first Wednesday, and I didn't make it to the meeting. My bad. So I didn't represent us that night. So when we get to that report, there is no report. With that, I'll move on to City Administrator.
Good evening. The next uniform union negotiations, well, actually had an executive session to discuss it, so that's already done. On April 7th, I received a letter from the Public Works and Clerical Union representatives to begin negotiations for the upcoming CBA, which expires on June 30th. It looks like the first meeting is going to be April 30th. If we can get staff here, that's the time that the union has, and it looks like staff does have that free time. We may be meeting for the whole day. The difference is when we met for the first, 7 or 8 times with the uniform union, we only met for 2 hours. So hopefully by meeting for an entire day, we can get a lot more accomplished in a lot quicker time. Lance and Jack and I have had a couple of meetings about the preparations for these negotiations. And once we have that first meeting, we'll come to council and then we'll lay it all out so we can go from there. And I'm hopeful that this can be a lot quicker than our last one. And both sides want to get it done by the 30th or the 1st of July, so we don't have to go over. That's the goal, and hopefully council and the mayor can work with us too on that. The first quarter financial reports are almost complete. We've been reviewing them with staff. I've been reviewing them with staff, and they'll be coming before the council on the 20th, and I'll be meeting with staff this week to go over some of the numbers. And then the Finance Committee, which meets on the 21st, will be reviewing them as well. The proposed, last week the council discussed the proposed new sound and recording systems. And the reason they're not on the agenda tonight was twofold. One, that the Technology Committee chair wasn't here, and I found out some information that I want to look deeper into before we have a good cost for everybody. So while it was positive discussion, I want to make sure you have all the information you need, and I'm going to take it to the Technology Committee. That's okay with the council, because we meet this Thursday, and I just want to make sure they understand the positives and the not so positives about it. And I want to also have a more fleshed out dollar amount, because I don't feel like we have that right now. It's a little bit nebulous. And that's all I have.
Questions? So the court staffs are in your packet. Next, and unfortunately, community services, Darcy had to go home. She's not good for the report tonight. Public Works?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. A few things going on in Public Works, just to keep you apprised of. The vehicles, I don't know that I've formally mentioned to the full council, but to the committee I did mention earlier in the month that the vehicles have been ordered along with the service bodies, and we're expecting the delivery of the 2 new Public Works trucks sometime in July of this year. We also are doing some work on the fire hydrants, and there's about halfway through the inspection of all the hydrants, and that's a little over 300 right now that we have put together our inspection checklist, and we found a few discrepancies and some items that we'll have to repair, so that'll be the next phase of this, but I'm pleased we're making good progress on this front. Another item that we're working on, you've heard me speak of, is the interlocal agreement with Sumner for the next phase of the Stewart Road project. At this point, our city attorney has reviewed the agreement, and we've heard back from Sumner's attorney, but we're going to have another couple go-rounds before we have an agreement hearing before the Public Works Committee, I think. Looking at the timing, it'll probably go there first before it comes to council as a workshop. Other items, and just wrapping up, King County Flood District had their annual grant program opportunity, and we are going to apply again for $50,000, and this will pay for the HESCOs to be decommissioned and allow us to open and close the park for the next season. So we're in the process of getting that paperwork pulled together and submitting it, and that's the Public Works report tonight.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that's the only thing. But he's not here to give a report. So, like 60.
The only thing I have at this time is we're going to approve the hiring officer, and I've been in contact with Gail Bennett last week, and she's started the advertising process. I think she's going to advertise for like 2 weeks plus 2 days, and once that advertisement is completed, then we'll look at the applications that we receive, and we'll be making some decisions at that time. Thank you.
Okay, questions? All right, so is there any reports from council members that are not part of a committee?
No.
Member Stiver?
Just want to remind the council members that be sure to file your PDC form, your F1, your or your F1A. You got
By tomorrow.
by the 15th.
I did.
I failed to do it 1 year, and they don't take excuses. I would try everything, but I had to mail them $10 a month for 2 years, so I made them work for their money.
Can I add something to your statement?
Sure.
I got an email from this Mr. Beatty, and I was kind of blindsided by it. And just FYI for anybody else that you might want to bring on board, this is something that the city should have made me aware of, and I had absolutely zero clue, none whatsoever, until I got this email from this man, and I said, I don't know who you are, go away. And he came back with no, and he has read it. I'm looking at a $280 fine already, because I should have had this to him last year. So I'm already looking at $280, and I told him I will try to get it by the 15th, but I have a tax deadline, and he asked me if I have lots of $280 to pay around. So I'm really not happy with whoever's in charge at the city to let me know that this is supposed to be going on. Yes?
City is not responsible for it.
I got an email that says the city of Pacific is responsible for letting me know that this is a requirement, because I was appointed, not elected.
Okay, well, that might be.
So, I don't know who dropped the ball on this one, but I'm really getting tired of this, whoever it is that keeps dropping the ball in the city. It's not okay. This could cost me $600, and I'm not happy.
So, well, I'm really sorry. When I was appointed, I didn't know. They sent me a message from the P.C.S.
Yeah, I got it last
Right away?
week, so.
No, they, every year they tell you by the 15th you need to file. So that was how I was informed. Anyway,
You can't do that.
Well,
okay,
I'll send them $1 a year for life.
there you go. any other, reports from council members that is not on the agenda? Okay, so, Finance Committee.
Be on the 21st.
Okay, Governance Committee.
We had a meeting last week on the 7th, and there are several items coming forward at the workshop for consideration and discussion. One of them is removing the Claims Committee as a council committee. There are things to do with the agenda, voting, meetings, where we hold meetings, so there'll be quite a few things to consider for next week.
Can I add something?
Sure.
One thing we did discover is that there's like 5 standing committees, the rest of them are ad hoc or additional study committees. And those 5 are where we're limited to, where one council member can only be a chair of one of those committees. And right now, we're in violation of our rules regarding that. So that needs to be corrected at those committee levels, which would be the Public Safety Committee and the Human Resources Committee.
Right, but on a second note, as Fran really pointed out, there are like 10 committees and 7 council members, so somebody's gonna have to sit twice, or...
No, there's the standing committees and then there's the ad hoc committees.
Oh, I'm
Those are
sorry.
all ad hoc. And anyone that can chair, you can chair all of those if you're on all of them. But it's just, the limits are on the standing committees.
Okay.
And is this all coming in one agenda, because it's all council rules?
Stacy, if you'd like to take human services, I'd be more than happy to set aside.
Please. You want to rest me for it?
Well, I think you guys can discuss these at your committee meeting.
Yeah, I think that's our,
At your
I think
committee
you
meeting.
discuss at the committee level.
Okay. Okay, is that it from the Governance Committee? All right. Human Services Committee.
We have a meeting on the 28th.
All right. Public Safety Committee.
We have a meeting on the 13th that I need to change because I will not be in town. It's always fun to have a
The 13th
public
of May is what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am, so I will get together with, all those involved and get a date that will work for everyone, either that or if they wanna have the party when I'm gone. All you can throw it at Flint.
Do we have anything on the agenda?
Not yet, no.
I mean,
As it gets closer to discuss it, if you need to, the meeting will cancel it. Okay, Public Works.
We had a meeting on the 1st, which I pooped and didn't make it. So I don't know if Clint has anything he wants to bring up. And so him or Josh were both present.
It wasn't really anything. We were just bringing us basically the committee up to date on where things are going at this point, and there's nothing to report, really.
Yeah, nothing really for council.
Okay. Technology Committee.
Meeting Thursday.
All right. Park Board. No report from Park Board. Planning Commission. Okay, no report. Pierce County Regional Council.
Attended last week the Transportation Committee, and it was a lot of rulemaking updates and very exciting, so I'll leave it at that. Just looking at some updates for how representation is in the 4-county region, so that was most of the meeting. And one set of presentations for a grant opportunity for regional town centers, which our city doesn't qualify for, but nonetheless, there were presentations on the grants for the cities that did qualify.
Thank you. So, Sound Cities, I told you, State Board.
Nothing from last time, waiting for the meeting this month, and we'll report after the meeting.
Valley Regional Fire Authority, we meet tomorrow night. All right, so there you go. Moving on, so next item on the agenda is appointments to the Planning Commission and Park